Welcome to the next episode of Brandland. I am your host, Garrett Justice, and I am joined by Sam Patterson at PFL, who's the marketing director there. Sam, how are you doing today?
Doing well, doing really well. It's a beautiful day here in Montana. The sun's shining, and it's the best time of year to be here.
Love it. I'm kind of jealous. I think I need to make a Montana trip here soon just to kind of get away from it all a little bit.
Well, come on up.
Love it.
Just wear a
Well,
mask.
Sam, yeah, exactly. Doesn't matter where you go. You got to wear that mask, right? That's good. Well, Sam, I'm excited to jump into our topic today. But before we do, I want our listeners to know a little bit more about your background and your career so far and what PFL, your company, does. Would you mind sharing a little bit more?
Not a problem. So I've kind of run the gamut with my background, everywhere from doing event planning in Wyoming for a large event center there, rodeos, fairs, weddings, you name it, and then moved into more of a B2C marketing position for a wireless company and did e-commerce marketing for several years. And now the last 6 years, I've been with PFL here in Montana, and that is a B2B technology space. So we're a SaaS company, and we have deep roots in the printing e-commerce business as well. We started off as a e-commerce print and manufacturing company 25 years ago. Actually, this year in the fall, we'll be celebrating our 25th anniversary.
Congrats. That's
But
great.
yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's been fun too because it really has a startup vibe in the last 7 years, right? So kind of right before I started at PFL, we started the SaaS side of our company, where we created technology that integrates direct mail and automates direct mail within marketing's automation platforms or their CRM, so that they can trigger direct mail based off of their prospects' behaviors, and they can personalize and customize the content in that direct mail based on that user behavior.
Yeah.
And because of the integration, it also makes multi-channel marketing a lot easier because you can have it as part of your triggered automated workflows that you already have for your email programs and your digital campaigns. And when a direct mail piece lands, you can get an alert back within 15 minutes that says, hey, this has landed. Hey, sales rep, you should call this prospect while they're engaging with the package in their hands.
That's
Or you
awesome.
could trigger an automated email too. So
That's such an excellent idea. I love it. And what a breadth of experience that you have. So I'm really excited to dive into our topic today about blending digital and physical channels to create unforgettable experiences for customers. But before we do, I got to hear a little bit more about this Wyoming Circuit Finals Rodeo that you helped plan and organize. Tell me a little bit more about that. That's a unique experience.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I'm a Montana girl, born and raised, and I moved to Wyoming for about 5 years. And so I've been around a lot of rodeos, but this was my chance to own the rodeo, from the marketing to the planning, the hiring of the talent. So, trying to figure out which rodeo clown would be the best. And the circuit finals is a pretty big deal. It's where you get the best within a geographic circuit of the best in rodeo, and you bring them together for kind of the finals. So it's kind of like the championship round. And that was just a really awesome learning experience, working with the athletes, the cowboys, cowgirls, and their families. We had like 70 plus volunteers, as well as paid employees working the event. And I learned a lot about rodeo that I never knew before, the terminology, all the work that goes on behind the scenes. And it was a great experience. And the event planning in general was a lot of fun. It's like one day you walk in and there's a monkey in your office because the fair is here, and for whatever reason there's a monkey in your office, and
That's so
there to say
great.
hi. And
Yeah.
So
Oh man, I think we could talk about this for hours. I'd love to hear more stories about it. I'm definitely a rodeo fan. I think that's something that a lot of people don't know about me. There's a big rodeo here not far from where I live. It's the Pleasant Grove Strawberry Days Rodeo, and they often have, some of the top riders come. And I was bummed that it had to be canceled this year because of COVID-19 and everything else. But very, very cool. Very exciting.
Yeah, I'm bummed as well. I think there's a few small rodeos here and there in Montana still going on, but all my favorites have been canceled. So gonna have to get it all in next year, I think.
Yeah, hopefully it's back and we can attend, right?
Fingers
Well,
crossed.
let's jump into this topic today. Again, I'm excited because of this breadth of your experience in your career so far, and also working with so many different clients, developing unforgettable experiences across multiple channels. So again, our topic today is how leading brands are blending both digital and physical channels to create unforgettable experiences. And so, I guess just to start us off. Can you give us some examples of that? Like, what are some brands doing to really blend digital and physical channels to create those experiences? What's the recipe for success here? And what types of companies are these? I mean, what types of companies are we talking about? Is it all across the board, or does this work better in certain industries?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'll start with just kind of the industry, the end part of your question first. We are seeing the span industries, so we have large B2C businesses, and then also a lot of the world's leading B2B brands using this blend of the tactile direct mail experience and their digital experiences.
Hmm.
And we really are for businesses who are looking to scale really remarkable experiences, and we help them craft those experiences, and then we help them get them to the right audiences and use their data within their existing martech to inform those experiences. So
Hmm.
it's not really about the batch and blast. A lot of people hear direct mail and they think, oh, here's my list. Okay, everyone's going to get the same thing, and then we'll wait and see what happens if
Mhm.
anyone calls in or follows the landing page link. And we've tried to flip that on its head and have it a very digital driven tactile marketing,
Hmm.
where your data and your consumers digital behavior informs when and what they receive in the tactile format.
Hmm.
And it's much more targeted. It's more of a one-to-one send than it is the batch and blast one-to-many. And so we help them scale that. And some of my kind of favorite examples of how they're creating these remarkable experiences. Qualtrics is a company that is really focused on wonderful experiences because
Mhm.
they're an experience management company. They're actually probably located really close to
They
you.
are, yeah, not just
Yeah.
down the road from us here in Utah, also. So yeah, definitely know people there.
Yeah, I got to visit their office a couple of years ago, and I could just walk in and it's like a basketball court in the lobby. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is cool. So I'd love to come visit them again. But they're doing some really cool things with blending the digital and physical. And whether that's they have video cards where they have left personalized messages, even down to a one-to-one personal message where an executive or a sales rep from Qualtrics is leaving a specific message for a contact at one of their prospect companies, and then that's being mailed and delivered to them with a personalized note. And you know really recently they rely on having their, I think it's called the X4
Hmm.
Summit,
Yeah.
where that's all about the experience. They have huge names coming, like I think they had Obama,
Yeah. Huge.
Oprah,
Uh-huh.
Brene Brown, like just a huge, wonderful event that everyone looks forward to. And it was canceled this year. It was in March. So it was really unfortunate. But they took a lot of that experience and what could have been actually a really disappointing situation for them and their customers and transformed it into a really memorable brand experience. And a lot of that was one-on-one outreach for registrants of the event. They had the books from a lot of the keynote speakers, like one was Brene Brown,
Mm-hmm.
her Dare to Lead book that was recently published, and they would write not they, but we would write a handwritten note for them, but their sales rep could go into Salesforce, the technology they use every day, write a very personalized note, click a button, select what package they wanted it to be included with, and then PFL executes everything on the back end.
Hmm.
They get an alert once it's delivered. And I think the really core part is that it's the very personal one-to-one outreach that makes the experience feel really intimate and like,
Yeah.
oh, like you could have just sent me an email saying, hey, this is canceled, but you went out of your way to send me this thoughtful book and this personalized note. And even further, um, you followed up right away. Like, I just opened this and then you're calling me. And
Yeah.
they actually had one of their prospects responded back and said, hey, I love this package. Thank you so much. It was so thoughtful. But more importantly, how did you execute this?
Mm-hmm.
Because I just heard the FedEx truck driving away. I walk, and then I get this email from you at the same time telling me what's in the package that I'm about to go pick up from the door.
Yeah.
And then I received a call, 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the beauty of the experience. It's like a VIP treatment
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, wow, they really thought this through and they really care about me. And that's the type of company I want to work with.
I love that. And what I love about that is it's so customer focused, right? Some things we talk about often, that I talk about with other marketers, either on this podcast or with my team, are, creating and looking for those brand moments that you can create,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those magical aha moments for people along their journey with you, and making it focused on them and not on you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes that's about the right message at the right time or the right value at the right time. So I think that's an excellent example of this. So you talked about video cards, and what I'm assuming that is it's an actual small LCD screen inside a physical card that gets mailed to someone with a custom video on it. Is that right?
That's right. It can be a card where you open it and the video starts playing.
Yeah.
Qualtrics also did a box where you open the box and in the box lid is the
Mm-hmm.
video. And then you
Yeah.
can have other elements within the box. And that's a really nice format because it does take video is very popular and
Yeah.
for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
People like video and it's a good way to communicate. And so they took that channel and blended it with actually getting it in someone's hands
Yeah.
and then having it be a custom personalized video for the individual. I mean, that's really for target accounts. You wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
do that for every Joe Schmo who
Yeah. Exactly.
lands on your website, but if you have your ICP nailed down and
Yeah.
you know this is the right contact, it's a really effective move.
Yeah. So that some of these handwritten notes, and what I love about that is you can have these physical interactions, like you said, combined right away with the digital interaction, like the phone call or the follow up referencing it. And I think that that's what really makes it so powerful in that moment, right?
Yeah, and it's really with the physical format, you have FedEx has like 100% delivery rate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anyone who just gets a FedEx package and tosses it in the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that every day with emails, like hundreds of them. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is a way to cut through that clutter and have your brand in the hands of the most important people to you.
Yeah.
And once you have their attention, it's really important to capitalize on providing value to them.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it done, the wrong way too, where
Mm-hmm.
you've got them a package and but they've put more thought into just, oh, I want whatever cool tech gadgets, the latest thing.
Yep.
Let's just put that in and it's good to go and they'll give me sales.
Yeah.
And it's really about how your message and the persona you're messaging to, how it all comes together in that package. Like, does whatever you're including in the box support your brand message and your
Yeah.
brand? Does like little details about the packaging even signal things about your brand that the digital medium can't?
Mm-hmm.
I keep going back to Qualtrics, but they were the first example I picked. And they have, well, that video box I mentioned, that was for a kind of a VIP event. And it has like a soft touch coating.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels luxurious and it's black and it had embossing on the side. They associated their brand with Porsche at the time, so it was a co-branded piece.
Mm-hmm.
And it's heavy, like before you even open the box, they've signaled things about the brand and
Mm-hmm.
their experience to be like, this is going to be something of quality.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of a VIP exclusive experience, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited to see what it is.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
something else to
I Yeah, I love that. I worked at Target years ago at their headquarters in Minneapolis, and part of the time I was there, I worked in the packaging department of marketing there. And we always referred to packaging as the last 5 seconds of marketing, especially when you're on shelf in store. But I think
Hmm.
that that's brilliant, finding ways like that to bring that to a B2B environment or B2C and combine it with some of the other digital channels that many of us focus on so much every day, because there's a real brand building value in that. So, and
Hmm.
I think that you are just like seeding my next question. So what I wanted to ask you about then too, is talk to me about conversion of this though, because we often talk about unforgettable customer experiences, and I think most people would agree, like the examples that you shared sound wonderful, but do they convert at the end of the day? Like, in order to pay for something like this, with so many of our budgets being limited recently, we want to know, you know, does it work? Does it, you get their attention, but is it just giving someone free swag or something like that? Or what are those experiences that you've seen that actually convert down
Hmm.
the funnel a little bit?
Yeah, I think when you framed it up saying, like, is it just swag in a box that converts?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not the case all the time. It does get you a moment of attention, but what converts is that overall experience. It's your message. Is your message on point? Is it
Yeah.
relevant? Is it conveyed through the package? And then it is also the follow up is really important. You don't just send it and then like, okay, I'll just wait and hear if someone calls me back. You still need to actively follow up, and
Yeah.
that's what's nice about our integration is it makes it easy for you to follow up and to automate that follow up.
Yeah.
As a package lands, you can automate an email right away to go out, and then you can have a BDR or an AE continue to follow up. And Qualtrics, I mean, they are just really killing it. They saw 7.2 million in net new pipeline
Hmm.
just this year through their tactile marketing automation campaigns.
Wow.
So, and on that, it's a 29x return on investment.
Wow.
And we're really always looking at return on investment.
Yeah.
Me as a marketer, us as an organization, with our customers, it's something that we're very focused on because it is a higher cost spend to send something physical other than another email, but it is paying off for our customers. 29x ROI isn't uncommon. I've seen up to 129
Wow.
ROI from customers.
Hmm.
I think Exabeam saw 100, almost 150%, and Invoca sees that as well on their campaigns because they've really nailed their message, their targeting, and their follow-up strategy. So it's definitely a way to get your foot in the door in an
Yeah.
organization, to get attention, and then capitalize on that attention and move the relationship forward.
Yeah, I love that. And I think to be clear too, I don't think that every single thing has to have a direct ROI or directly lead to sales. There are some things that you do within marketing that are focused on building that brand that are still valuable to do, even if they don't directly lead to a sale. But it's so awesome to hear that when you can find those ways to build brand and also have some sales come out of it, have it
Mm-hmm.
lead to a positive ROI. I mean, I think that those are like the channels that as marketers we get super excited about, because you can kind of hit on both sides of that equation. It's not just a sales activation activity, but it's also an activity where you can build brand and plant seeds for some of the people who might not convert now, but have a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful experience with your brand.
Exactly. And we've seen customers using this blend of the digital and physical at all stages of the customer journey, whether that's early on and you do just want a lot of that brand awareness, that building of the relationships. We have a customer insight who was going after C-suite executives, and it's really hard to build relationships with C-suite level people
Mm-hmm.
if you're selling something. And so they kind of took the approach of like, hey, we're not selling anything. We just want to, they kind of coordinated it with an IT leadership award that they sponsored, but it was an overall category award. And it was just like, hey, congratulations. Here's a
Yeah.
nice congratulations note. They included a little gift as a little congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we just want to say congrats, and that's
Mm-hmm.
it. And and then they continued to build that relationship, but I think they received a lot of feedback just saying like, wow, that was just really thoughtful, thank you. And
Yeah.
that gets your brand on the map, and it starts the relationship off in a more authentic way,
Yeah.
in a more
Love
personalized
that.
way.
I think that so often in marketing, we forget to play the long game and we just focus on the short game, those
Mhm.
short-term sales activation activities. So finding a way to find the right channels to play the long game and plant those seeds without pitching your product or your features right away, right? Just
Mhm.
building relationships is so key. And it's been proven time and time again, with so many different examples out there that it works. It's just so hard to prioritize because you can't see that immediate return, right?
Yeah, and I always think too personally when I receive an awesome experience from a brand, regardless of channel, I might not be like willing or ready to buy
Mm-hmm.
or in a place where I could buy, but I have this brand affinity that's already implanted in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the time does come up that I might be in a buying situation, it's top of mind. It's right there.
Yeah.
And that can be a great physical, digital experience. It could be a customer, like an experience you have. One of my favorite, I'm probably rambling now, but one of my favorite stories to tell about a brand experience that I've had is actually a little Italian restaurant in Cleveland,
Hmm.
Ohio. I was there for a content marketing conference,
Mm-hmm.
probably, I don't know, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. It was a while. But it was kind of before Uber and ride sharing services. And I finally convinced some taxi driver to take me out because it was way out of the center of town. And so I didn't know why everyone was giving me such a hard time about taking me out there. But I got out there, I had a meal, and it was good. It was a cool like vibe. It was an old Italian family restaurant, good meal. I could have just left at that point thinking like, oh yeah, that was good. But I ended up not being able to get a ride out back to my hotel. No taxi would answer my phone calls. Everyone I did get a hold of would say no. And I was like on the edge of tears. It's getting late at night. I'm like, there's no way I can walk this
Mm-hmm.
far through who knows what type of neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
by myself. And so the waiter kind of picked up on like what's going on. And next thing I know, the owner of the business is coming out and saying, hey, I'll drive you home. Give me 2 hours to wrap things up. I'll take you home. I'm not letting you walk,
Yeah.
and no one's going to
Wow.
come pick you up. And so he took me over to his sister's wine club. They were kissing me on the cheek, giving me bottles of wine and little thank you, like little gifts to like
Yeah.
their group
Yeah.
package. And
Yeah.
then he drove me home, and it was just like an amazing. Now I'm so loyal to that brand.
Yeah.
Anytime I hear of someone going to Cleveland, I'm like, this is where you
Go to
got to
that place.
go. I
Uh-huh.
will always go there if I ever get back to Cleveland. I would love to, but it's that tiny detail
Yeah.
that just spoke volumes about that restaurant's brand. Like
Yeah.
they're family and they care about the people eating at the restaurant. So
Love that story. Yeah. And I
yeah.
think that illustrates, the power of those unforgettable experiences that we can and should be creating for customers. So switching gears a little bit, I know you've talked a little bit about how your platform works and how this can integrate with, you know, uh, customers' marketing stacks. And so they can kind of blend that physical and digital, you know,
Mhm.
as building on that, if someone wanted to get started with this space, whether it's your platform or using another one out there, um, what is the best way to get started? I mean, where should they go? Should they be thinking about blending digital and physical to generate new leads or business? Is it more effective to start with customers? Like, what would you recommend if someone came to you and asked you, "How do I get started here?"
Yeah, I would take kind of a strategy approach of looking at where the biggest pain points in their customer journey are. I think a lot of the time we see customers coming in with a more top of the funnel demand gen pain point of,
Mm-hmm.
we're just not getting enough pipeline fast enough. We're kind of feeling like we're hitting brick walls with a lot of our digital ads and email communications. And I think even now with kind of the state of the world, it's even harder
Yeah.
with us transitioning from physical events to digital. There's just so much more clutter.
Yeah.
So I would just advise looking at where in your customer journey a physical component could open the most doors for you or make the most impact. And some customers are coming in and saying hey, we have budget allocated for demand gen that we want to shift over to our customer marketing to make sure that we retain the customers we already have and potentially upsell, cross-sell, because that's easier than driving net new pipeline right now. And so it really just is where the biggest opportunities. And what would you do if you could have 100% of your top prospects or your top customers' attention for a few minutes? Really, the possibilities are endless, and we can layer into any existing program you already have too. It's not like you need to reinvent the wheel and start a whole new complete campaign. I've seen customers, Paycor is one of them, is a great example, where they had existing nurture streams that were topic specific. And so if someone is like, Garrett, you said, I'm interested in HR benefits, but you didn't say that. You just engaged through their email communications with that content, but you didn't necessarily engage with payroll. And they listen to that intent, and then they plug you into the appropriate nurture stream that has specific content for benefits. And then they just took that and layered in the tactile component. So if you're in this nurture stream for benefits and you're starting to show some engagement, you've clicked on a couple of emails and you're showing some intent, and they're like, hey, now would be a wonderful time to push them over that edge to the next point in this relationship, which would be a sales call. And to do that, then they listen to the data, and it automatically then triggers a guidebook that has, they use it across all of their topic campaigns. So they have like 5 topics. This guidebook has 5 chapters. And so the
physical guidebook that
physical printed guidebook in your hands. And so they trigger the send of the guidebook with a personalized note, and the personalized note says, hey, Garrett, check out page 10 on benefits. I think this XYZ will stand out the most to you. Let's have a conversation about how we can help you. And it's super relevant because it's something you've already expressed interest in. And then it's also the added benefit of, oh, by the way, we also do these other things that you can see in this book, the other chapters, but we're really zeroing in on what you're caring about most. So it's just that layering in. It's not reworking the whole thing. It's a complement to your other channels, and it boosts response rates on your other channels as well.
It's like an experience that you'd have with a friend, right? If a friend reached out to you and said, hey, I saw this and thought of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, this is relevant, check it out. And instead of just like, hey, here's a guidebook.
Yeah, so great.
It's just a tiny element that makes it that much more personalized.
I love it. Sam, this has been an awesome discussion today. I really appreciate the stories and insights that you've shared. As my last question I have for you that's kind of separate from our topic today, but just as we wrap up here, based on your experience in marketing and working with all these different clients, across all different industries, what's something that everyone in your space in marketing you think they should stop doing that they're currently doing? So what's something that everyone's currently doing that you think, isn't worthwhile?
I think it's somewhat related to what we just talked about, and I think there are people out there doing what I think we should be doing, but a lot of us, it's hard, and we get busy, and we're like, hey, we just have to get something out, and it's going beyond personalizing with first name. I see it a lot where it's like, oh, we have this email, but we just first name personalization, and we are just kind of batch and blasting it, or we are going to do a new virtual event, and we're just kind of do the table stakes just to make everybody happy. And I think the more zeroed in we can be on smaller, more intimate audiences, more personalized email communications, dividing your streams into persona specific or topic specific or whatever that can just continue to narrow down the personalization. I think that's what I'd advise, because there's just so much out there, and I get hundreds of emails a day, and what stands out to me is the personalization. Even like a BDR, I've had a BDR, very few, but I've had several BDRs actually go to my LinkedIn profile, see what I'm interested in. At one
Mm-hmm.
point, it was like I'm a certified Guinness pourer. I think I sprinkled that in as just like a little Easter egg to be like, will anyone find this? And
Mm-hmm.
someone did and was like, I am too. It was a cool experience, yada
Mm-hmm.
yada. Or, someone coming and saying like, I like Queen too. That's my karaoke. This
Mm-hmm.
is my karaoke song from Queen because
Yeah.
mine is Fat Bottom Girls. uh, but that love that caught my attention, and I
Yeah.
responded because I appreciated that effort. And it's just a little bit of extra effort to
Yeah.
just do a quick LinkedIn search, sprinkle in what if there is a nugget. Some people
Yeah.
don't leave personal information, but any bit can help. And that would be my advice: is stop doing the status quo and focusing on quantity. I think I've heard one of my coworkers have like the machete versus a scalpel
Mm-hmm.
analogy. So like put away the machete
Mm-hmm.
and get your scalpel out, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what's going to drive the best brand experiences and ultimately the best results for your brand.
Love it. That's great advice. I've had similar experiences. I had to get sales emails all the time, and most of the time I just don't have enough time to respond. Right. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
can't do it. I had someone reach out last week, and I could tell that they actually listened to an episode of the podcast. They talked about something and made it more relevant. And I responded and said, "Hey, I'm not interested, but thanks for reaching out. I'll definitely keep
Mm-hmm.
you guys in mind in the future if we ever have a need," because it's just so rare these days. So I think your advice is like spot on there, that let's just be a little bit more specific to the people who we're trying to serve. Remember that there's people, not trying to automate everything.
Yeah.
And as you do that, it's more meaningful and you get better results from it. So great
Mm-hmm.
advice. Sam, this has been awesome conversation today. I really appreciate you joining and sharing your insights. As we leave today and wrap up, if any of our listeners want to follow up with you or get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure, they can find me on LinkedIn on Sam Patterson. You can also email me at spatterson@pfl.com. I'm happy to both, but keep in mind the tip I just left. If you do contact me,
Drop the
I'll
Easter egg, right?
yeah, drop the Easter egg. I'll be watching for it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm happy to talk to anyone listening about strategy, just brainstorming. That's sometimes where I get some of my biggest breakthrough or aha moments is talking to peers and our customers and solving challenges together. So feel free to reach out. And if you're ever in Montana, hit me up too. We can go watch a rodeo together.
I love it. Okay, will do. I got to plan that in there. Got to find a way to take a road trip to Montana. So, Sam, thanks again for your time and enjoy the wonderful Montana weather up there.
Oh, will do.
Okay,
You take care
talk to you
too.
later.
All right.